Hooks and lines, and what size line and what size hook do we need at Redbridge Lakes, or in general. And a lot of people seem to get this wrong because it's actually fairly simple. In my hand I have a size 6 hook. This is a size 24 hook. This is a size 18 hook, and this is a size 14 hook. Now, in the winter time, when the fish are really slow and you cannot possibly get a bite and you want to catch the tiniest fish in the lake to try and catch something, you'll want to try using this 24 hook. And in the summertime, if you find a fish this big that won't bend this hook in, that will bend this hook in half, you're lucky, because you won't find one at Redbridge Lakes. The biggest fish we got here is 26 pound, and I reckon this will handle a shark. So you really don't need a hook like this. You'd have to put so much bait on this hook to disguise the size of the hook to get any educated fish to take it. It's untrue. So this sort of hook, Redbridge Lakes, don't even bother using it. Okay, so we'll get rid of that one to start with. If you're fishing for catfish or 40-pound carp, perhaps you might want to use it. So summertime, you're not going to want to use a 24 hook. It's pretty useless in the summertime because most fish will fall off or it'll bend the hook. So we'll get rid of that one. But so we're leaving now with 2 hooks. We've got a size 18 hook, and this is ready tied to line, and we've got a size 14 hook ready tied to line. And you're really looking at something between these 2 sizes. Now, the important thing is that when the fish aren't really feeding, you might want to put a smaller bait on with a lighter line and a lighter hook, and they'll be more inclined to take the bait and you'll get a bite. When the fish are feeding ravenously, then you might not necessarily need to fish with a smallish hook like that. You might want to go to a bigger hook because they'll be more inclined to take it. You've got to try and get a balance between the 2. Now, talking about balance, this is a really important issue. We're talking here, this hook is a 14 hook, and it's a medium gauged wire. And if I can try and unravel it, it's a medium gauge wire, and that is tied to a 3.5 pounds breaking strain line, which is quite heavy. Now, don't get confused about a 3.5 pound breaking strain line and a 3.5 pound weight fish. Okay, what you've got to remember is when a fish is in the water, it's weightless, just like you and I are when we're in the water. So if it was a 20-pound fish, if it wasn't swimming away from you, you would be able to bring it to the surface with a 3.5 pound line. Okay, so when you're actually playing a big fish, you've got a clutch on your reel, and you've also got elastic in a pole which stops that snapping. So a little bit of skill involved. If you get a big fish and it's pulling, let the fish do all the pulling. Okay, don't pull back, because also you're doubling the strain. When you do manage to get a big fish to the surface, don't try and lift it out, because that's when you're putting the pressure on the line tenfold, because it's just like lifting your eye out of the water. You might be able to drag us along with a thin piece of string in the water, but try and lift us out, you probably won't be strong enough to start with. So try and think about actually what's happening there. So if you use a landing net and you play a fish carefully, you will get a big fish out on the 3.5 pound line. Now, if you're tying your own hooks, try and think about the balance of the size of the line to the size of the hook. If you're using a 24 fine gauged line, a fine gauged hook, then you probably won't want to use anything stronger than an 0.7 or a 1 pound breaking strain line, because the hook is going to bend before the line breaks. So you've got to try and get the balance of the strength of the wire in the hook and the strength of the line itself. And the ideal balance is that the line breaks just before the hook bends straight. So try and think about it. If you're fishing a 0.24 breaking strain line, that is an 11 pound breaking strain, then you might want to go up to something like that sort of thickness hook. Okay, 0.24, you're going to get some big fish on that, and yeah, I personally I wouldn't use it. Certainly wouldn't use it here. So at Redbridge Lakes, I would recommend, when the fishing's good, use a 3 to 3.5 pound breaking strain line with a 14 hook. Wire hook, you don't need a forged hook. A wire hook would be good enough. And when the fishing's not so good and you want to catch perhaps more of the silverfish, more of the roach and rudd and the gudgeon and that sort of thing, then go down to an 18 or a 20 with a pound or a pound and a half, pound and 3/4 breaking strain line. We sell these hooks here, 16s and 18s. They pretty well do most of the stuff here. If you're fishing with maggots, I would say definitely fish with either of these hooks. If you're fishing the bigger baits, if you're fishing worms and corn and things like that, then you've got a bigger hook. That will be easier to hook the bait with, and you leave a little bit of point to hook the fish with. But that's about it. I see so many people here fishing with great big hooks with maggots on it, and the hooks are so thick that when they actually hook the maggots, the maggots are all spilling out and dying, and it just isn't a bait that's presentable to the fish. You want a nice fine hook, hook the maggot on gently, and you're going to get bites. And that's about all I can say. I could talk all day long about hooks and lines, but that's about all you really need to know. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.